Hey girl, I want to talk to you about the way that you approach what you want with men. There's a lot in the literature that discusses how female desire is transmuted through the internalized patriarchal process into desirability. And I'm sure you felt this. When you're going on a date, you're not thinking, am I into him? You're thinking, is he into me? When you're maybe messing around with a guy, you're not thinking, does this feel good to me? You're thinking, do I look good to him? So that's already really messed up and takes a lot of deconditioning. But the other way that they tell us to think about our desires is to think about it in what I call sky desires. Like it's almost like you go up into a bird's eye view, or you go up into your mind and you think, what do I want in a big picture way with a man? What do I want for my relationship? What do I want for my marriage? And this has its place. It's important to do. And I think it's useful to think through some of these more sky level desires where you're like, I want a man who's considerate. I want a relationship where we feel like each other's best friends. I want him to be thoughtful of me. I want him to provide. So there's definitely some value in being able to have those sky level desires, but I think it really sets us up for failure when we then actually go into the world and go out dating. Because it's almost then we're either trying to subtly or overtly superimpose this fantasy we have onto the current situation. And it makes us really vulnerable to look at some guy and say, okay, I see this and this and this and this that could fit into my vision. And so I'm going to hyper focus on that and make those really big in my mind and believe that it could be possible, because I really want to believe that it's possible and that it could happen for me. And I'm going to take all those things that I see that maybe don't fit that image or make me feel a little bit uncomfortable and, I'm not sure. And I'm going to kind of make them smaller, and I'm going to marginalize them, and I'm going to shove them away in a little box and not pay attention. And in the name of going for what we want and believing that what we want is happening, we actually disconnect from our bodies and disconnect from what is actually going on and set ourselves up to be disappointed, disillusioned, discouraged. So I suggest you practice instead what I call earth level desires. I mean, first you gotta reclaim desire itself from just being the desirable object, right? You got to get your eyes and your ears and your taste and all your senses back into your body, root them back into your body, and practice this muscle, because desire is a muscle. And we're actually way more practiced into the muscle of going into our mind and fantasizing sky level desires than we are actually about being grounded in this context, in the here and now, in this body, and figuring out, what do I want right now? So I practice these all the time. I practice these when I'm home alone. And I'll be like, okay, what is my desire right now? And it's almost like if I ask my body, if I ask my being, if I ask the moment, then and wait for these answers, like little by little they start to come. And the desire, it has this quality to it. It has this texture, it has this color, it has a kind of like hum. And I've come to be able to recognize that sort of like as me, which is sort of magical and really cool. And a good place to practice is just with stuff you have to do anyway, right? Like, are you hungry? And then you can ask your earthly desire body, can say like, am I really hungry? Yes, I am. What do I really want to eat? Okay, it's time to get dressed in the morning. What do I really feel like wearing? And I'm kind of asking my body, and I'm kind of asking my being, and I'm kind of asking the context for the day. And like I said, it's a muscle. So even with something like food, right? I struggled with food a lot because my desire body would say like, I want to eat all the cookies and ice cream. So, there's like a balance between what's healthy and what's overindulging and what's like allowing what's true and what's all this sort of stuff. But this is the practice. And it does get easier over time. So you can start being like, oh wow, I have the evening free. What do I want to do this evening? And you're opening up the borders of your imagination. You're opening up the possibility. You're asking your deeper self. And then you can do it with a friend. So much of our default with our female friends is we just like default to checking in and sharing about our lives, as opposed to being like, what would actually be exciting? What's like my earthly desire to do with my friend today? And I did this, then me and my friend, we ended up ice skating, which I probably haven't done, since I was a child at a birthday party. It's probably been like 30 years. And little by little, you start to be able to do this more and more with men. And I think of it like you're kind of have two-handed awareness. So I'll be talking to a guy and he's kind of here, and I'm feeling him with my hand, real him, not my fantasy of him, not my projection of him, not my negative projection of him, of all the times I've been hurt. And I have one hand here, and I'm thinking to myself from a certain place of detachment, what does my actual earthly desire want here? What does my body want here? And sometimes it's like, oh, I just want like a kiss on the cheek. Or, like, I really want to get away from him. This guy is boring the living daylights out of me. I would like to go now. Sometimes it's like, I want this guy to go to P-Town, no stop, no chaser. But regardless, you're in this practice of earth desires. And this to me seems like a way of starting to enter into getting back into your desire and getting back into a decentered perspective of dating that's grounded in the real time information that you're getting from yourself being centered in the context of this guy, of dating, and of getting to know yourself. And opening up that conversation that's going to serve you in every area of your life.